Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video I will talk about another very important infection, that is Japanese encephalitis. Japanese encephalitis is a major cause of viral encephalitis in Asia, controlled by vaccination in countries like Japan, Korea and Thailand. In India, Japanese encephalitis remains endemo-epidemic due to transmission via reservoirs like pigs and birds. Despite some progress, the full disease burden is unclear in many regions. Japanese encephalitis has caused epidemics in India since 1955, affecting 24 states. Only 2% of cases are reported, skewing the case fatality rate. Early diagnosis and treatment can significantly reduce morbidity and case fatality rate. The disease primarily affects children aged 5 to 10 years with occasional adult cases. Japanese encephalitis is caused by a flavivirus. In North India, the GP78 strain is similar to the Chinese SA14 strain. The virus cycles between pigs and birds, such as egrets, and can infect other animals like frogs and livestock. Pigs and certain birds are the primary reservoirs and amplifiers. Pigs are the key reservoirs of Japanese encephalitis virus. The virus is transmitted by Culex mosquito, which breed in the flooded fields. These mosquitoes can travel up to 5 kilometers. Japanese encephalitis spread is linked to agricultural expansion, rice cultivation, and nitrogenous fertilizers. JE develops 5 to 16 days after infection, with primary viral multiplication outside the nervous system, eventually spreading to the CNS. While most infections are mild, the virus can severely damage the brain, affecting regions like the thalamus, substantia nigra, and spinal cord. Clinical manifestations vary based on infection severity, host susceptibility, and viral location. Symptoms can progress through 5 stages depending on severity. First stage is the prodromal stage that lasts for 2 to 3 days and has high fever, headache, and malaise. Second is an acute encephalitis stage, which lasts from 3 to 4 days with focal symptoms like seizures, abnormal movements, limb weakness, and altered consciousness. Then is the raised intracranial tension, leading to symptoms including headache, vomiting, and reflex changes. Meningeal irritation in the form of neck rigidity, Brudzinski sign, and Koenig sign. Non-neurological signs which are rare like bradycardia and hypertension. In convalescence, fever decreases and neurological function improves, though some cases may develop acute flaccid paralysis. CSF analysis in early JE shows neutrophils, later replaced by lymphocytes, lymphocytic pleocytosis of 10 to 60 cells per ml, and normal glucose levels support diagnosis. Serological tests are mainly for retrospective diagnosis due to delayed results. The IgM ELISA is the preferred method, detecting antibodies within 3 days. A rise in IgG antibodies confirms infection. CSF IgM detection is more sensitive than serum. PCR testing is highly sensitive but costly. Sample collection involves 5 ml of blood processed for testing. Neuroimaging of Japanese encephalitis shows non-specific findings like brain edema. MRI is superior to CT scan for detecting characteristic lesions in the thalami. SPECT imaging shows hypoperfusion in affected brain areas. Conditions like cerebral malaria, Reyes syndrome, and bacterial meningitis should be considered in the differential diagnosis. CSF findings in Japanese encephalitis can overlap with other infections like viral meningitis or tuberculosis. Japanese encephalitis lacks specific antiviral treatment. Management is supportive, focusing on complications like seizures, raised intracranial pressure, and infections. Specific management approaches of Japanese encephalitis include the following. First, seizure management by using phenytoin, diazepam, or valproate. For raised intracranial pressure, we can use osmotic diuretics like mannitol and furosemide. For agitation, use diazepam or haloperidol. To minimize stimuli, limit loud sounds and bright lights. Tube feeding is preferred for proper nutrition, and enteral nutrition supports immune function. Antibiotics are given for secondary infections, and pain management is also essential. JE can recur with fresh neurological deficits or mortality as the virus remains latent in lymphocytes. Continuous monitoring is required after recovery. JE is severe, especially in children with high mortality. Factors like short prodromal stages, deep coma, and abnormal CSF findings indicate poor prognosis. Neurological sequelae affect many survivors but improve over time, with larger cortical areas recovering better than smaller regions. The long-term care for survivors include drug therapy and rehabilitation for issues like seizures, movement disorders, and Parkinsonism. Preventive measures include mosquito control, sanitation, and vaccination, which is the most effective strategy. Countries like Japan and China controlled JE with vaccination. The inactivated mouse brain-derived vaccine is effective but requires multiple doses. It induces protection for 3 to 4 years, with boosters recommended every 3 years in endemic areas. India uses a formalin inactivated vaccine from the Nakayama strain. The vaccine protects individuals but doesn't prevent community spread. Mass vaccination requires 80 to 90% coverage, which is costly and operationally challenging. JE vaccine side effects are mild, with fever in 5% of cases. In India, vaccination is recommended for endemic areas, but the high cost limits its inclusion in National Immunization Program. To conclude, Japanese encephalitis remains a serious public health issue, especially in endemic regions. Vaccination, early diagnosis, and supportive care are critical for reducing the disease impact. Continued focus on prevention, monitoring, and public health efforts, as seen in countries like Japan and China, is essential to control JE. Thank you for watching. Hope you liked it. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. Do not forget to press the bell icon to receive notification of all such new videos.